we dealt with Lord Raderick, and I'm looking to see. I don't see that you can hear the game, and I don't know why, because I already checked this before we started. It's the Real Tech. Let's try that one. There's always two of them. Okay. Just trying to keep an eye on this. Watch. There we go. Now you can hear it. It's so loud for me. Okay. Here we go. We had several points of business here outstanding, of course, because there's a lot to do in Defiance Bay. We did decide to side with Lord Raderick, which is an unusual decision. It's certainly not the one I made the first time that I played this game. By the way, the hubbub is mostly about my evil party in Baldur's Gate. However, do you remember when we, what was it? Okay, when we opened the chest and that monster popped out and killed the guy in the sanitarium, I think that was even yesterday. That's one of the ones, but it has not been as controversial as when we were in the temple and we decided to kill the guy for lying to us and prevaricating. People have gotten very upset about that. And actually, that one video wouldn't have gotten so many views if there hadn't been so many numbnuts downvoting it in the beginning. They're not smart enough to realize that. So I don't say anything at all anymore. Their lack of intelligence is patently obvious to the rest of us. They think that digital blips. They think I'm like, what, I don't know, going out and killing people on the street because I did something for them. They didn't give me more than 100 gold pieces. Remember yesterday morning we killed that guy and his wife for that. People have gotten upset about that too. That's one that has more down votes than up votes at the moment. I'm like, it's an evil party. They expect to be compensated for their trouble. And after all, we did fight a Dark Lord, and we almost fought a Black Dragon, and we fought all the minions of the Dark Lord. I think 100 gold and Rangers armor is not fair compensation. So let's go to the Crucible Knights here. But we took care of that. This is not an evil game, by the way, just to remind people. This is more of a neutral party, is what we're playing. Barot, or Baroth, depending on how you want to say it, is the god of the wheel. He's entirely neutral. Death is the most neutral thing in the world. It takes everybody. Young, old, rich, poor. Smart, stupid. It doesn't care. So none of my followers are stupid, obviously. But there are a lot of stupid people in the world. We all know that. So, Almar gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, does it? It does. You look like you've recently arrived yourself. Okay, I've done this quest, and I can tell you that the guy who wants his armor back is telling the truth. He is. So, I don't know, tell me about the Crucible Knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose Edoran rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter out in Dunred Row. What's this about Dunred Row? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights. So the higher-ups know there's nothing messy built into your soul's past. Almar widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. Now spit it out. He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility is in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is that they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? Sounds kind of racist. Yeah, well, I mean, number 4 is true. If people treated them better, you wouldn't have to worry about them being so hostile. That's 100% true. But, I wish I didn't have to venture an opinion on it, to be honest with you. Because I don't know that it's not something that's in their nature, so I'm just going to say sounds fair enough. Exactly, but it seems like you can hardly make a simple statement like that without someone wanting to draw steel over it. Okay. What goes on in the Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor, as well as where many of our soldiers bunk. Commander Cliver's in the back, making plans as usual. He scratches a scarred cheek. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building, along with our master smith, Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the Golem, if you're the praying type. Looking for something or just knocking dirt off your boots? What if I say I have information about Eorn? What does that do? He glances around cautiously, then leans towards you. He lowers his voice. Eorn, you said. Well, what became of him? He's hiding down in the catacombs under Copper Lane. Oh! That guy! I couldn't place the name. Okay, that's all. I didn't want to turn that guy over. I just wasn't able to place the name. So, I know we're going to have to go visit the Cipher and talk to them. Why don't we go do that first? Did I fail? I'm autistic, so sometimes I fail to do things that other people expect. I hope I didn't fail to greet you and say, hi, welcome to my stream. I'm glad you're here. I am glad you're in my stream. I'm glad to have you here with me. And I'm sorry if I don't say that often enough. I should let people know how special they are. And that is my failing, without question. So let us shift areas again. That's where they are at. Also going to put just a teeny bit. That's why I tried to get my earbuds to work, but they were being moody, so I had to leave them to the side because it was time to start the stream. Okay, so, my lovelies. And by the way, I know that I can get a lot more followers if I just show my boobs. I just have been disinclined to go that way. It's sad for me when I get gamers following me and that's what I see on their feeds in Instagram. I usually mute them because I don't have any respect for them, to be frank about it. Anyone can sexualize their body, even the dumbest POS, so. That is actually a thing you do out of desperation when you have nothing else that you can sell or rent, use to make money. All of it sounds sort of sordid, doesn't it? Okay, so,
Hail, traveler.
the Orlan man is surrounded by books and scrolls. His wiry hair stands nearly on end, and his ears prick up as you approach. You carry whispers. Cat Noir, Gilded Veil, old voices indeed. How did you know? The Orlin grins, revealing a row of dagger-pointed teeth. As a cipher, it is my job to know these things. You carry the whiff of ancients. Okay, what else can you tell me? His ears twitch downward, not as much as I would like. Unfortunately, my duties for Lady Webb require me to focus my talents elsewhere. He regards a table piled with scrolls. What brings you to Dunrid Row? Let's offer to help him first. It looks like you could use some help. Curran wags a clawed finger. Not at liberty to discuss my work, unfortunately. Dunrid Row ears only. A civilian would need the confidence of Lady Webb before I could share. Tell me about your skills. I check for soul connections, looking for lost things, missing things, or troublesome things, particularly where people of power and influence are concerned. I'm a cipher. In Erglanfoth, we were once known as Prishalgvin, Mine Hunters. Nice title, yes, but it wasn't until the Animancers began working with my kind 40 years ago that we truly understood our power. Now we make some of the best detectives in the world. Tracing souls, we can look at a person and see where they've been, or look at a weapon and see who has touched it. Useful for solving crimes, as you can imagine. And you don't want my help, so let's go see if we can bother, or rather meet with, Lady Webb. One presumes she's back here. She's in a separate house entirely, if memory serves. If memory serves. See how they're red? I think that means that once we break into those, we would be stealing were we to take anything. Let's go upstairs. She might be upstairs. My memory is not serving me. And by the way, just as y'all know, I am assessing these time slots to see how many people I typically get in them. I used to have really good luck with this one. I streamed from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 6:30, sometimes 7 in the evening. And people would start pouring in right around 6 in the evening. So that's why I thought I would put the time slot here and see if that would be something that works out. That looks like her. Looks like her door. I see. That's how it is here. I don't think there's anyone else we can talk to up here. Is there someone else I could talk to? Okay. Okay, we were waiting for this to be built. This is 2 days and 22 hours, however, and this will be 2 days and 25 hours. Wow, that'll be cutting it close. But it will be worth it. We need to make sure we're not traveling at that time, because this gives us an extra 2 on our security. And then we can let it auto-resolve and hope that we don't end up having to repair essential portions of our keep. So we're not going to get to see her yet. Oh, we can't get any farther with that one.
The life of a traveler. So many ruins to uncover, places to see.
People to kill. Oh, this isn't an evil party, is it?
Far longer than I. Where do you go next when you have all the world to choose from?
Home, of course.
I like him, actually. I like his character. So we want to go, let's go to Andra's gift. There's some stuff there we could be doing. Gift, by the way, in German is poison. That's what it means, is poison.
Your brother.
So when I say gift shop to my partner, he laughs.
We got along how brothers do. He used to throw water on me to wake me up in the morning. I used to fill his boots with stinging ants.
My own brothers and sisters are doing very well for themselves, back in Takoma. I don't know that they'd search for me if I were killed so far from home.
Brothers can be funny. I bet you'd be surprised how far they'd go.
I like some of the inter-character interaction. Through Death's Gates, Direwood, okay. Undying Heritage, find the tower, which I think is in the part of town that's infested at the moment. The Man Who Waits, the House to Misery and Madness, okay, we know where that is. If I'm to find this person, I will need to find this neighborhood. Perhaps the guards know, but I already know where it is. Time and Tide, okay. The Master Below, same thing. Hers. The Rogue Knight we were pursuing. And told me of the Elder Archives and the rare manuscripts they contain, including one of the Animancers named Pandgrim. We've heard of his works. She needs access. So go to the Elder Archives. Oh, the Elder Archives are hidden in the Hall of Revealed Mysteries, which is in Copper Lane. That might be... because I know we will come here eventually. Let's start in Copper Lane, then see if we can find this place. That'll be a good place to start. I like these games that are more open-ended. I mean, this is channeling us down a path, because it's not like we can choose to take Wodoka's side, right? Or the worshippers of Wodoka. That is not a path that's open to us. And I think we have to do something particular before we can get in here. So, I mean, there is always a main storyline that you're guided down, and in a lot of games, your choices are utterly irrelevant to the main storyline. You go from point A to point B, but how you get there is your choice, in other words. And Baldur's Gate 2 was no different. I mean, it had its underlying main storyline as well. Like, you know, you're sitting there going,
I'd wager there are more than a few banned books in here.
I'd wager you're right. So, okay, that was one of the ones I couldn't. Just have to. The woman barely glances up from the tomes on the table as you approach her. Welcome to browse the stacks, but mind that you keep your voice down. This is still a temple after all, and Grimda doesn't tolerate disorder. This is a temple. It looks like a library. That's because it is. Whale is the god of mysteries and answers, encryption and decryption, concealment and revelation. She raises her hands to a row of shelves. Its guidance comes from the understanding of the unknown and the protection of hidden knowledge. The Hall of Revealed Mysteries was built to celebrate that. I think there's such a place in the Direwood. Incredible. To think there's such a place in the Direwood. Incredible. I'd love a glimpse of the archives. How many secrets must sit upon those shelves? Doesn't really answer my question. She sighs and rolls her eyes. Yes, it is a library of sorts. Temples dedicated to Whale tend to hold vast stores of knowledge. We use that knowledge to unravel and preserve the mysteries of the world. Anything else? Who's Gremda? Nothing more upsetting than when someone asks you who your god is. Nie davon gehört. So, never heard of them. Why, she's the High Archivist. She's one of the most accomplished scholars alive today. Nothing goes on here without her knowing about it. Almost nothing, anyway. Oh, see, I thought it was some god. Okay, you should probably tread lightly around her today. Tell me about yourself. She throws her broad shoulders back. I am a scrivener and a devotee of Will. It's my duty to look after our records and resources. Her chest swells with pride. Oh, bye. She's a wee bit bizarre. Très bizarre. A second. I like to check every once in a while and see what y'all are seeing. I find it to be very helpful. Huda, 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 huda. Okay, you can see the game. That's my main thing. Maybe he's the one who needed something too. Ah, it's a soul. Okay. Well, I'm not actually planning on stealing the things. I think they might be a little bit mental, don't you? Ooh, part 2. We don't have that one. Invasion. No entry into the archives without Grandma's permission. And she said that it's a time of the month or something for Grandma. Keep searching the obscure leaves called clues, blah, blah, blah. An elderly dwarf surveys the stacks. Oh, she hasn't had her coffee today. I don't know. Her skin looks as tough and wrinkled as a walnut. Despite her stature, she manages to look down her nose at you. You're welcome to look around, but let the priests and scriveners continue their search. She shoots the nearest robed figure a withering glance. Wouldn't do to give them any excuses. What are they looking for? Maybe I can help. It's always nice to offer to help people first, isn't it? Like I said, this is not an evil party. So, she sizes you up, stroking her chin. Could you now? She scowls at the robed priests. Again, you certainly couldn't do worse than this lot anyway. Okay, thieves made off with an ancient scroll of Will. They intend to blaspheme by selling that which should remain hidden, a secret of the 100 Visions. By the way, welcome to my stream. I hope you're doing wonderfully. Her wiry eyebrows arch over her spectacles. The guards caught one of them, but were overzealous in their interrogation. All they could piece together was something about a farmhouse and the road to Direford. Or Deerford. I would say Direford. Sorry. Track the thieves down. I don't care what you do with them, but bring back the scroll. Will rewards the persistent seeker, as do I. An ancient scroll of Will. There's a fine prize. I mean, a worthy task. What else do you need? I think I'm going to go do this quest before I come back and ask for a boon. It usually works better that way. So, looks like we will be going to Direford after all. By the way, I put on my beautiful dragon earrings, and then my earbuds wouldn't work.
Fox bites.
Creeps.
Can I pet him anyway?
With your hand.
I'm gonna pet him.
Oh, there goes the gossip. The grapevine at work right next to us. Hello, Sha. By the way, for those of you who don't know me, the reason I have the rabbit ears on, I'm the mother of 9 rabbits. I bred rabbits for 15 years. No, 10 years. I bred rabbits for 10 years. I've been keeping them for 14 years. I started in 2009 and I stopped in 2019, my last litter. came in 2019, and now I'm just taking care of the ones that I had left over from the time that I was breeding. I have 9 of them currently. One is going to have to be put down sometime in the next few weeks, and another one within the next couple of months, sadly. They have tooth problems that cannot be resolved. She said on the road to Darford. We went there. That chick gave us a new, there it is, an abandoned farm on the path to Darford. Probably a little bit closer than this. They don't tell us what lies to the east, but we know. Okay.
Welcome to my channel.
Hi. I just lost the person who was in the kick. Anyhow, the people from the kick, I think, have primarily started following me for the Sims streaming, and then when I stream Sims, I still have almost no one in there, so. Those are cliffs. The filler that she is looking for, when we looked at her statue, we saw him standing on a cliff. In case someone is wondering why I'm making a big deal about a cliff here. Okay, we don't want to do this one yet. We will come back and do it another time, however. It's the advantage of having already played this game once, or twice, or maybe 3 times. You do actually have some memory of how traumatic it was for you when you accidentally wandered into places where you should not have been. Oh, the druid. Chewing on an uncooked piece of meat, a small Orlan dressed in tattered leathers offers a mumbled greeting and waves his hand. Despite his pleasant smile, the upper right portion of his face is in a sorry state. An eye patch stitched with a stylized eyeball wraps around his head, and his ear is a mangled remnant that twitches and spasms while the other ear perks up at your approach. Next to him is the splayed carcass of a deer that appears ripped open by a bear or a wolf. You hear a gurgling rumble next to you. Sagani places her hand on her stomach. Her eyes are on the carcass, still fresh. Idumak's pink tongue lolls out of its mouth.
This is your deer. You need a new game warden. Name's Heropolis. Hungry? You can't eat all this. First catch of the day. Help yourself.
I'll have a small bite, number 4.
Great. You can have the best part.
Oh, I'm afraid to hear what he thinks the best part is, but he puts his foot against the deer and with a wet ripping noise yanks free a length of rope-like flesh as long as he is tall.
Eat up.
Let's be clever and say after you. His one eye locks you and he tears off several inches of intestine with one ripping bite. He slowly chews, his eyes squinting at you.
So delicious.
He mumbles as his face winces.
Had elderberries for its last meal. Are you sure you don't want to try some?
What killed that deer?
One ornery Stelgar. Though looking at the deer's insides, it had a malformed but delicious heart, and would have been dead within the year regardless. Galloway chose a fitting end for this fine animal. Pardon me. I shouldn't pray with my mouth full.
Tell me about Galloway.
Lord of the hunt, patron of all seekers.
Okay, he's another god I understand very well. He He brushes his hair aside, following a closer examination of his eye patch, allowing a closer examination of his eye patch. A stylized pattern of an eye is embroidered on the worn leather.
As a child, I would worship Galawain in hopes of being a great hunter. But I have since come to know Wow, he who sees and is not seen.
God of knowledge and thieves? What brings you here?
Other than the delicious venison, new trees to document, new animals to sketch, new sights to be seen. I've learned as much as I can from the druids of my circle. I'd rather wander and learn than take root and stagnate. So if you're traveling to Deerwood and need another set of hands, I'd welcome the safety of a group.
Okay, and just what can you offer in return?
The celebrants of Hawk and Ivy of the Fisher Crane tribe. I know more than my share of nature magic, and, well, I don't shy away from a good fight. I have business with the druids that live near Twin Elms. So long as we find ourselves there eventually, I'm happy to follow along.
You're welcome to join us.
It'll be an honor to run with the pack for a change.
Excellent. So let us trade him out, although I like him very much. We'll trade him out because everyone else is pretty necessary. I don't think I've ever been without these three. Counting myself. I'm usually not without myself, but sometimes you'd be surprised. I thought we would find that guy up here. I guess that is a better fit. So, you. Oh yes, we can all put our robes of Baroth away, probably. And we don't want to lose track of what day it is. Okay, that means we can sell this tome next time we're... Okay, so that didn't take us very long to get here, did it? Excellent. I was looking for the guy in her statue, actually. To see if he is here. I did find him eventually, and he wasn't here, but this would be the logical place that your character would look. To be honest about it. Not down here, but... Ah. There does not honestly seem to be a down here. I mean, there is, obviously, but not one that you're going to be able to see. So, that's okay. I was really weird this morning. I do need to update the OBS, but it was weird that it wouldn't let me stream with the Baldur's Gate 2. Usually I can start as long as the game doesn't crash. We're good to go. So I'm assuming the farmhouse will be on this map. Cowled Pipples, loosely speaking. This looks like a farmhouse. No, this is a temple.
Out with you. I already told
Said no one trusts him with anything more than lighting candles.
I thought you were one of those ruffians.
Well, looks like someone's beating us here. What happened to you?
I never saw their faces. Strange hooded men asking about those ruins. Clear Bar Mila. Most of the brigands who come through here asking about the ruins are looking for a few ancient trinkets. But these people knew the name
Olaf looks at you frowning. That doesn't sound... That does sound like the leaden key, doesn't it? The old priest nods politely. Is there something else I can help you with? Okay, let's find out more about Beroth real quick. Beroth is the most universal of all the gods. It oversees, it says it because it has a male and a female aspect. Okay? It oversees portals and cycles of all kinds, even life and death itself. Under Beroth, an ending is merely a passage to another beginning. Beroth has many representations across time and across cultures. Around the Direwood, you'll commonly see it depicted as the Pallid Knight or the Usher. The Glanfathans, however, know it as Beonin, or Bevnin. Bevnin e Ankev, and Ankev e Bevnin. Interesting. So again, sort of a mirrored aspect, you might say. Tell me about the Pallid Knight. She is one of the youngest manifestations of Beroth, but a familiar one nonetheless. Stories describe her as a gaunt knight in black armor with black eyes, black hair, and milk-pale skin. She demands an impossible toll from travelers who have tarried too long on her lord's road. Some challenge her only to slay themselves in the process. Okay, who's this Usher? Kith have written stories, songs, and poems about the Usher for centuries. Sometimes he's folk, sometimes dwarf, and sometimes merely a walking skeleton. He never speaks, but he guides the way to death. In the second one, at the beginning, he was the dwarf that didn't speak. And the next life, he also creates the circumstances for the wayward to stumble into their own graves. I've never heard of Bevnin e Ankev and Ankev e Bevnin. It's easier for me if I pronounce it as if it were German. It's easier to say. It means life and death and life, respectively. You see them as two skeletal figures, one male, one female. Explorers have found them carved opposite one another in doorways, but I know of no particular legends that speak of them. Interesting. Okay, well, can you tell me where the ruins are?
I never saw the princess.
Oh, bugger me, I hit the wrong number.
Longfather tribe that guards the ruins will kill anyone who trespasses there. They'll retaliate against us, too. History is an indication. We've had too many fortune seekers stir up trouble of late. If I'm to tell you, I need to know your reason for wanting to kill me.
He folds his arms and stares at you with one eye and a scowl. The druid does. So, this is where I say, go into the ruins and I'll kill you. And that's when you say, here obvious, I'm a watcher and you're no match for all of us, and we've got a good reason for this. And then I give up trying to argue with you and leave you to dig your own trespasser's grave. And I'm only being half metaphoric. We sometimes make Direwoodians dig their own grave before we kill them. When the kids hear about it's a fabulous deterrent. A dangerous plot is unfolding there. I've got to stop it. That's true. Well, let's
If that's the case,
say it then.
we may already have trouble headed our way. I'll have to take you at your word.
Sucker.
You'll find Theobon Rila beaten. The trouble you'll find there is, and one, trying to stay away from peace.
Tell me more about the Direford. Folk here tend to keep to themselves, as they do in most towns in this deep in the Direwood. They're suspicious of travelers, but with all the brigands and refugees moving through the area, who can blame them? Okay, fare thee well. It's because I don't sleep enough in between streams, and I need to. But I did spend some time today cutting clips and I cut one highlight, and I think the rest were clips. So if y'all want to check those out, that could be fun. They're in my YouTube channel, but they're also here in Twitch, or they are in Twitch. Some people come from Kick to watch me stream, but you can see them in my YouTube channel. You don't have to. Hello, show. What am I doing? I don't know. Villagers. That is nothing of interest. Yeah. Let's blow this popsicle stand. Like I said, if you want to be amused, then go over to my YouTube channel and check out how many people have got butt hurt over my streams. Is it really that dark, or is it? No, that's my handy again. Okay. I say handy. Handy is because it's the German word, by the way. The German word for a mobile phone is a handy, and they think it's a German word, which is it's spelled Handy. That's not a German word. Man paces angrily in front of a wretched animal pen, his sun-weathered face twisted in ire. He's so wrapped up in his fury that he doesn't even seem to notice you. Galwain's slobbering breasts, blazing bloody effigy, thrice damned salty wench and her soggy... Let's take number 4. That's probably not the best way to pray to the gods. A fat lot of good they've done me so far. Just look at this mess. My pen ruined and all but a few measly rents gone. What are you talking about? An ogre moved into the area not long ago. Folk have been seeing glimpses and tracks out in the wood, but it seemed to be staying away from town. Or so we all thought, until it made off with my pigs. Now everybody's afraid to go to it's going to develop a taste for kith, if it hadn't already. Okay, did you see the ogre take your pigs? Let's not be, logical about this.
Welcome to my channel.
Hi. Nice name. What else would have destroyed my pen and made off with my herd? And at the same time, the rest of the village is seeing a 10-foot monster in the forest. That's a kind of coincidence. Rumbald. Oh, I have to have the reputation of aggression for 2. I knew a few toughs like you during the Saints' War, and we do, by the way. I know it's too late to get my pigs back, but it has set my mind at ease to see that thing's head shorn from its neck. If in fact you bring its ugly pate to me, and I'll trade you for something that's less use to a farmer like me than to a rowdy-looking sort like yourself. Okay, what do you know about the ogre? It's the same as any other, I'm sure. A big, ugly son of a bitch with a nasty temper and an appetite to match. Trygill could tell you more. He claims to have seen it in the wood. You can find him in his shop, right by the broken tower. Need something else? Nope. Thank you for sharing. There's the broken tower. That must be the shop. Oh yes, grieving mother. Let's go get her and send her to our stronghold. Oh, bugger me, don't tell me I done missed that. No. What do they want? Lost 40 copper pieces to the bandits, but we earned 838. I can live with that. 2 days and 5 hours. No. I never take grieving mother with me. I should one of these days. I'm just not good at playing her type of character. Oh, that's stealing somebody's stuff. We are not playing an evil party in this one, by the way. And I'm still highly amused at the activity in my YouTube channel today. It's unbelievable. And I'm thankful to the people who go in there and give it a thumbs down so that people are wondering what it was they disapproved of. This middle-aged peasant woman is dressed in a brown leather cloth draped down to her knees. Her hands are working at separately stringing colorless vegetables in a pile before her, stripping the heads off the long fibrous stems with a paring knife. She discards the stems one by one, placing the heads of the vegetables into a small cradle-like basket in front of her. She doesn't greet you as you approach. You're not sure she even knows you're there. Excuse me? The woman does not respond. She keeps stripping the heads from the vegetables with a steady rhythm. She may be deaf. There's no indication she heard you, so let's study her. At first glance, she seems nothing more than a middle-aged woman, unremarkable, maybe less stern than most, who seems more focused on the weaving in her lap than her surroundings. Yet you suddenly notice she's not stripping the vegetables before her any longer. She's weaving, and the vegetable pots are now missing. Drugs were good. She still pays you no mind, her brown locks torn and snagged from lack of washing, like many of the town folk you've seen. There's a strange blur to her. Even the motions of her hands seem to be playing with threads that lack color, in a shape that lacks interest. It may be that she is half-minded or deaf, but something feels wrong. As you watch, her knitting takes on an odd cadence, and you have a terrible suspicion that something lurks beneath what your eyes are showing you. Let's focus on the woman. Her brown hair is long, almost impossibly to the length of her hands. As you follow the stream of her locks downward, the hairs become long and black, splitting off into threads of black and silver and wrapping around her hands. She is forming a soul cradle with the threads, braiding a net in front of her, each finger long and sharp like a series of knitting needles, almost hypnotic. The silver and black strands of her hair weave together, with silver predominating as a highlight, the black shadowing it. And suddenly you are calm. You're on a plateau, almost the height of the tower. Several stories high, the plateau is like a table lying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau, surrounding it in all directions, a forest, hazy with mist. Although whether it is actual mist, or distance, or a recollection, you are not sure. Resting in the curve of a natural arch above you is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention as if looking down on you and the event unfolding before you. The plateau has soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath you is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around you. You feel different, not disembodied, but you feel your body, your physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. And you hear a soft series of chimes, like wind chimes. At the sound, the scene gains color and texture, as if the sound is beckoning you gently forth, filling your senses and thoughts, like mist rolling softly into a sealed chamber, and the chime coaxes you deeper into the memory, and you are certain it is a memory, a warm one. You are on the stone of the plateau, your knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver, white, shimmering like Adara. The plateau is formed of it, glistening in the sun. You can feel the heat on your skin, your wrists, your hands. Your hands are in motion. Weaving, not thread, but gathering tenderly, moving along the first movements of Baroth's wheel. Your hands are wet. Your hands are upon the flesh of the newborn child. You can feel the crowning of a tiny head, turning in your grip, its head slick, wet from the womb. The hands you are inhabiting have done this many times, and they are practiced and confident. You can feel distant pains in your own head as the head emerges, a stream of fluid from the womb, helping the newborn slide forth, and a woman's labored breathing, crying out. Focus on the child and the movement of your hands, okay? As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of memory. You cannot see where they're coming from, but they are close, and they are meant as a comfort of that you're certain. Draw forth the child, and coaxed by your hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again. Almost eagerly the child comes forth, and as it does, your hands are in motion, weaving, moving along the length of a soft, wet rope. No, an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before you. You are holding a small child,
_taco.
still wet
Welcome
from
to
the
my
womb
channel.
before you. Hi, welcome. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul, the ringing of chimes echoing in its thoughts, filling it with its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges as if you are viewing a soul from within a soul, but it is there. It is alive. The woman before you is weeping, and at her first cry, your hands reach out for it. Surrender the child. You surrender the child to her, something you have done many times before, and as your hands move, the chimes echo the movement. And you realize the chimes are hanging from cords on your wrists. And where once they echoed in the memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world, a soothing sound guided by the tender motions of your wrists. You are helping to weave its thoughts, its perceptions, and the experience. The experience. The woman laughs with a ragged joy, laughing from a parched throat. Her emotions seem soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is here. The child is safe. And all atop the plateau is peaceful, calm, distant, flattening out as the memory persists. Okay, slowly pull back and retreat from the memory. With effort, the scene bleeds of color and your mind becomes your own again. There is no pull, no anchor, yet the sound of the chimes remains. As they existed in the memory, they sound here as well. And they are hanging from woven braids on the wrists of the woman before you. Even as your head is spinning from the touch of her mind, the sound of the chimes on her wrists is sharp and clear, as if coaxing you back to the real world. The woman still sits before you, but she is nothing like what you first saw. She is wearing black, shredded garments that drape over her form like streamers. Her hair is streaks of black and run through with silver. Her age is almost impossible to tell. She simply feels old, like a crumbled watchtower. As she lifts her head to face you, you see that her hair is draped across the front of her face like a veil. What you first saw of her was a mental glamour of some sort, unconscious, and you realize what you see is not what the world sees, and you are perhaps the first to see her true self. Still, you don't sense a threat in the realization. If anything, you feel a sense of relief from the figure. You can hear her thoughts, and she is glad to at last be seen. Okay, let's ask what was that?
See me, but the eyes of others do not remember. You were the first to see me as I am, the call stripped aside.
There's a light touch on your mind, a caress, and her left hand mirrors the motion of the touch, reaching up to the air between you. You hear the chime on her wrist sound. Softly, her hand moves as if pantomiming, resting on your cheek at a distance, and she speaks softly and slowly.
Cadence of wheels on a caravan trot. Diva, customs by running water. Violence in a night's campfire. Arrows in the dark. And blue.
Chamaru
Falling rock,
1946.
cracking stone.
Welcome to my channel. Lil_Wayne_Taco
Storm.
said, Howdy.
Storm
Hattie,
pinched you. Did it screaming
welcome to
make
my
your
channel.
lungs clear? Your memory of it is painful. Its cry is difficult to ignore. It's like a child. Many children crying out.
Okay, let's pick number one. I encountered a Biowak, yes, and it did something to me. Her hand withdraws shyly, the chime sounding softly once again. The woman stands uncertainly, as if she has been sitting for some time,
Said,
or
can't get enough of me.
is too weak to bear her own weight. You notice her cheekbones. Let him finish doing his thing. You notice her cheekbones are tight, her face gaunt, yet while her stance is weak, she seems determined to stand before you. By the way, welcome everyone. I hope you're doing wonderfully. We're streaming the Pillars of Eternity. It's almost a question. You suddenly realize she doesn't seem to know what you saw when you looked at her. The image on the plateau, yet the image was so clear, so sharp, you're surprised she didn't feel you there.
Seems a rare gift.
Hmm.
A watcher's gift.
Soul storms. Let's ask her number 5.
Come check me out in Instagram.
Okay, those are not supposed to be happening together. I changed the timing on them specifically for that. I'll have to check that again after the stream. You said that you could hear a storm in my thoughts. What do you know about soul storms?
Many questions. Thoughts whirling like storm winds.
By the way, y'all are free to write in the chat if you want to, or just lurk. It's up to you.
Underground river. Cannot tell if it is carving new channels or eroding what keeps your true strength buried. The fact that you could hear it far, survive it, something few have ever done. But your power will grow stronger with each soul you touch, as it allows you to reach out to more.
Okay, so we have to keep doing that even if we don't read all the stories, okay?
Lil_Wayne_Taco said, I'm
Oh.
enjoying the reading.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that because there's a lot of reading in this game. I was hesitant at first to choose this as a streaming game. There's a silence, and although it seems to last for but a heartbeat, in your thoughts it stretches out between the two of you, like a pull between your minds. You blink, take a breath, and then you realize she wants to ask you a question, yet can't form the words, as if assembling them is painful, or there simply are not enough pieces. Okay, so we'll ask her to travel with us, but we're going to put her in our keep. I don't play her character very well. I myself am autistic, and I'm not good at empathetic things. And her character is more empathetic. I just have never gotten a really good feel for it. You feel a wave of fear, gusted with the strength of relief, although oddly her expression does not change. Then fear dissipates, and you feel strength and certainty, as if the plateau from her memory lies beneath you, and a calm sky looks down upon you. So we're going to leave her in the keep, okay? I feel more comfortable with the people that I'm playing with at the moment. But it's always good to have extra characters in the keep, as we saw when we had a mission here and we had no one to fulfill it. Ooh, tea. Oh, we could go and sell some of our stuff, couldn't we? And I do hope that the people who have joined me, that you do like a lot of reading, because there is a lot of reading in this game. Baldur's Gate 2 is a little bit less reading, but it can still be quite a bit at times.
Hail, traveler.
A portly, smiling man stands behind a warped wooden counter, polishing a buckle. He looks up. Haven't seen you before. Always glad to see a new face in town. He's probably the only one. Company's good for business, and chatter's good for the soul. That's what I always say. Anyhow, what can I do for you? With my southern accent, it actually makes doing the voices here in the Direwood really good. What's been going on in the Direford? Oh, we're a quiet little town. Not much happening here, especially not since the legacy hit. People realized they couldn't have babies and just stopped trying altogether. And that takes a lot of the excitement out of the day to day, if you can believe it. Okay, show me what you got for sale. Got some nice stuff, doesn't he? So we need to offload some stuff. I open my stash and everyone sees that that's the understatement of the year. We did the stuff with Lord Rhetoric and have not had the chance to sell anything. All of these have been cleaned out, which is why they're in the inventory. So we don't want to sell unique items, obviously. These white ones are just fine items if you haven't played the game before. These are our Robes of Baroth. We probably won't need them again, but one never knows what life is going to bring, does one? Ooh, tea. Let's keep the unique stuff, as I've said, just at least for now. As soon as I get rid of something, I find that I need it. Don't know if it happens for y'all that way. It's kind of frustrating. Night.
Said. 2 viewers, plus 1.
But
1 hour, 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Let him do his thing. So as you see, we've got some critters here. We've got a couple little critters here. We've got one in our inventory running around with us, so to speak. We will want to keep an eye on these things because we need some of them to craft with, and we will get an incredible abundance of them. Look at that. That's how much we're selling. 6,985 copper pieces we're getting from him. We already have 4,734. Which means if we were a mine to buy that sword, we could. It's a two-handed sword. Oh, goodness sake, sorry. It's evening already in Germany. So don't know if he has anything particular that we really want. Light armor. I think I'm going to look at all that offline. We'll sell our stuff for the moment. I'll come back and look at that later when we're not all sitting here waiting for me while I puzzle through this stuff. Let's go see that feller who's by the tower who knows something about the ogre. Supposedly. Angeblich.
Smell around here reminds me of a stable hand, Rutman. Not real popular with the women, Trevor.
I can't find it anywhere. I never... We'll talk about this later. Go back to the dyes. I'll take care of our customer.
How do you do?
The sturdy, broad-shouldered man wipes his hands on his slacks. He reeks of the same foul compound wafting from the vats, and his arms are stained with dye. You looking to purchase some leather? Rumbold mentioned something about an ogre. He's hardly talked about anything else since those pigs of his went missing. The whole town's been worried about that monster. People are starting to see shapes in their windows at night, hearing its growl and the snoring of their mates. It would put a lot of minds at ease if someone got rid of it. He scrapes at red pigment under his fingernails. I sometimes venture into the wilderness, collecting ingredients for my dyes, mind you. I've seen tracks east of here, near the river, that couldn't have been anything else. Something else you need? What's in the collapsed tower? It's collapsed. Nothing. He rolls his eyes and shrugs. A few hides on stretching racks and the tallow stench Dangler's always grumbling about. The rest of the keep's dust, just like the fool lady Fenu who tried to hold it. There's a bard at the end who will tell you the whole blazing story if you want to hear it. Well, now show me what you got for sale then. Wow. Troll hide belt gives you extra endurance. I think maybe we'll take those. Now the question is, who give it to? He's got 97, 93, 84. Of course you've got the least. Let's give him the troll belt, give him more endurance. This is less crit damage taken. I always keep him with the best stuff. Gee, it's the second best. Let us, however, trade that out there. Endurance is always in the front as well, so we will equip him with that. Now, we may not be the best gamers in the world, but we aren't the stupidest neither, so we're going to save. Potions for sale. Potions. A young woman leans against a wagon. One arm and one side of her face are covered in bandages with raw, rippled flesh showing underneath. A minty, tangy scent wafts from her dressing. She smiles painfully. Just ventured into town. I'm about dry on some of my stock, but you're welcome to have a look. Why are your stocks limited? It's the damn roads. Can't reach none of my suppliers, so I'm stuck here. I'm stuck with whatever I can scrounge up in the wood. Direcap, river reed, and the like. That's well and good, but most potions require something stronger too. Troll skin, vessel bone, what have you. And then there's the really rare ingredients, things you never be able to find, never be able to afford, let alone find on your own. Come on, spill it. Hendina winces as the rest of the story comes tumbling out of her. I've been keeping an eye on a drake's nest east of town at Direford Crossing. The beast stayed just long enough to lay a clutch and then moved on. Thank the Sky Mother, it wasn't a full-grown dragon. She looks at her bandaged arm and grimaces. Fresh eggs are much more useful than the ones that get passed between merchants or left in nests for weeks or more. And that clutch looked to be at its peak. I thought I'd see about getting an egg, but I didn't realize so many of them had already hatched, or that young worms were so territorial. Well, we can try to get you some eggs. She keeps her gaze steady, but you see hope kindling in her eyes and twitching at the corners of her mouth. I sure hope you're not leading me on. I don't think I can stand getting burned again. She bites her lip. If you really mean to go after it, I'd certainly pay you. Just remember, because they are, dragon eggs are fragile. And there's a lot more I can do with a whole one.
Hello.
She adjusts one of her bandages. Anything else I can do for you? I've got some handy ointments if you braving the road anytime soon. What's wrong with the roads? A noise of disgust rattles from her throat. Brigands, looters, you name it. The gods may be hollowing out our babies, but it's grown folk that's rubbing out the rest of us. People are scrambling to Defiance Bay because they hear there's healthy births there. And all those refugees and abandoned homes attract desperate sorts like flies on a dog. Like flies on a dog's shit. I was going to say it's fleas on a dog. It's flies on the dog shit, though. She's right. Okay, show me your wares. She steps aside. Sure thing. The shelves of her cart contain jars, vials, and bundled paper packets. OT. She hasn't got anything we need particularly right now, but I was going to gonna say, we probably have something we can sell to her. But Audra, I'm a little hesitant to part with that just yet, so we won't. Okay, we're just piling up quests here the same way you do in Baldur's Gate 2, right? So, would we rather go after the ogre or I think the worms are. We might ought to go after the ogre first. Not that ogres are, like make the best playmates or anything like that. They really are nothing to sneeze at neither. So. Let's see where we can get out of town here. That looks like a good place, especially since we're heading west. We just came from the west, didn't we? We did. Maybe we need to go. Well, we weren't up at the upper part of that. Let's go check that out. Let's go check that out. So, to the world transition. Okay, we were here. And we did come in. I guess this is technically. Strange. Let her land where she's going to land at. Oh, here I was thinking it was just one of them. The druid really, the druid kicks it when he changes form. So that's why I like to. Oh, another one. Yeah, my grandparents used to say that urine makes the bushes grow. Adair seems to be getting into a lot of trouble, didn't he? Remember when we got stuck down in the pit with just one camping thing, and he was almost dead? Endurance, when he was almost dead, we pulled him back pretty hard too, didn't we? So with Adair, we had to reload and try again. We weren't getting out of that pit anytime soon. Oops. That was my bad. I shouldn't have jumped down there with just with just one supply. It really was quite foolish, Ranks right up there with the foolish stuff I do sometimes. In my defense, in Baldur's Gate 2, when I cast the fireballs and it fries my party, it is kind of hard to judge. You have to really get a feel for it. Oh, fresh deer. Oh, who invited you to this fight? Bugger me. He's really strange. The quicker we kill these guys, the quicker we can get to her, right? That's what I'm talking about. Just send a bunch of them over there and then I called them back. That was stupid. Newt. They're not. This is normal level, and it just doesn't feel that hard. But I don't want to set it up because some of the fights are really. Oh, okay, that was the fighting that did that. Okay. Nice furs. Nice limbs, baby. That was another one I posted in YouTube that people got upset about. The mother plant in Strangerville in Sims 4, when I solved that, it showed the roots and stuff, and I was like, oh, nice roots, baby, or something like that, you know? And I posted that little clip in YouTube, and people actually got offended by that and were downvoting it. I was like, oh my gosh. The world is really just completely mental nowadays. The things people get upset about. Oh, look, a dead body. And we didn't do it. We didn't do it. It wasn't us. A winged helm. If that's all they had on, it's no wonder they're lying there dead. Just saying. And people don't get, being versatile in your character, your ability to play different characters in these games is not a negative thing. And it's not going to cause you to go out onto the street and start killing people's dogs. That was another one that got some downvotes. It was where I killed a digital dog in Skyrim. It's like, folks, please. A little annoying Barnaby, y'all know that? Do y'all play Skyrim? I don't know if any of y'all play Skyrim or not. A feral druid. Horrid cow. Did you see that? He got big and ugly very quickly. Wait on that for just a moment. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. All of a sudden, you are in this fight. You're doing that thing quite suddenly. I did tell him to do that already. What are you doing? I want you to take him, not take Kim. Can't see how she has to go anywhere. You already used it? You already used that. This is why I don't like having the AI on. You get ready to use something, and they're like, huh, etchy petchy, they already used that. You're going, what? What? She's stunned. He's stunned. Should you ever come back to us? He's not casting the spell I asked him to. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. It's too late for her. I didn't even have control over her to use her special ability to heal her, just like I don't have any control over him. the druid, didn't the druid, maybe their druids might have cast that spell, actually. Which really explains a lot. Just happened to be our druid cast a spell, the same spell, around the same time. Come on, come on. See what we can do with him. Later we will get one where we can actually revive them, but we don't have that one yet. And so you can't bring them back. That's the problem. And we still have 2 of these, so our chances do not look particularly good. Although we can use this, can't we? I just feel like he has better spells than I do. Or I just suck majorly. Or both.
You're not getting through me.
It's not a darn thing I can do for him. Thank you.
You're not getting through me.
If we survive this, is going to be by the skin of our teeth.
Not getting through me.
I don't really have any more tricks I can pull out of my sleeve. I could mark the prey. Don't know if that's going to help. I haven't really used it that much. Him and his frickin' lightning spell.
Leave it to me. Yeah. Leave it to me.
Here, I was just thinking to myself, as long as I've got him, I'm doing okay, but...
Leave it to me.
keeps stunning her. Poor dog is down too now. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, couple more good hits. Damn it. I don't think... Nope, that was it. So close, yet so very far away. Oh, oh. Bugger me. Y'all let me get some cappuccino real quick, if you don't mind. I have to cut highlights from my Baldur's Gate game this morning. I was working on some older videos earlier today. We pulled a couple of battles out of our backside really nicely. Really nicely. Blah. Blah. I was like riding high after that stream this morning. It was really choice. The gaming session itself, I mean. Blah. That was nice. Let me get myself something here, as I've said. And I'll take a potty break real quick. I don't have my Be Right Back screen ready again. I will do. I usually make it with my Sims. It's really cute. Get one of my hacker chicks, you know, on her computer and whatnot. It's very cute. Be right there. get affiliated, this is what I would do, is for us to take a short break while the ads run. So, however, it takes a lot more people in my stream than what I get, so we'll just have to enjoy ourselves. I'll not worry about it. That's close enough for government work. Just checking because my partner has not been doing well again, and I just want to make sure he's not laying on the floor or something, yeah. Hugest problem is he has an abject fear of dying, which I understand completely, but he keeps thinking that he's gonna die now, and you're just like, well, you're not making it any better. So, I hope. Oh, he screwed that up, or I screwed it up rather. You certainly didn't. I guess the body laying there should have been a clue. We were so close. We were so close that I feel like that if I made more sensible choices in the beginning, we would have a fairly good chance. Still irritated about those spells being gone. Those would be very helpful. He mirrors what we're doing. Isn't that interesting?
Pegamus. Welcome to my channel.
Eddie. So she did her thing. Why is she not attacking? Oh, we had her casting a spell. Who is this? Then attack him. Don't just run around like a fool. Even if you are a fool, you shouldn't be running around like a fool. That should be patently obvious. Okay, we want him to cast lightning as well, but he's stunned at the moment. seems to have disrupted his spell, which is shite for us. We still need him to go there. And we're losing people left and right again because of the lightning.
We gotta take better care of Aloy.
Why in the fuck would you run that way? Everybody pardon me, but man, when I get irritated, I get irritated. And I get really irritated at the so-called AIs in these games. You're just like, in what universe is that a fucking intelligent decision? Oh yeah, it's not. Okay. Just frustrating, you know, how they sell it to you like they've got some advanced AI and it's just crap. So where is he? Everybody, I need you. Yeah, run right around him. That just makes no sense. Come on, guys. We've got 4 people here and we got almost nobody left of us. Well, we can forget it then. So we're not going to win that one. We were so close last time. That's why I was willing to try again, but I'm not willing to do this again yet. Not at this level. Because 4 druids against us is just, it's way too hard. So, we're looking for an ogre. Let's go look for an ogre. We came here, which was a wee bit south, and when we went that way, we went to the Direwood. It made no sense, really. We're supposed to be going west. Let's see what we can do. Y'all will find I have the mouth of a sailor when I get pissed. Hetty. These people, like Margson, is they watch me enough that they know that I have the mouth of a sailor when I get angry. So let's see about what's going on over here. 1 day and 22 hours, okay. Gotta keep an eye on that. We want to go west, so let's go here and try going north. That's still west of Direford. Going west out of Direford brought us south. 'Twas strange. Bizarre, even. Okay, we're getting our asses kicked by a bunch of feral druids, by the way. In case somebody wonders what I'm ranting about now. I try to keep my rants to a minimum, but that says about all, doesn't it? He's chained. Not the way you'd like him to be. Oh, maybe not you. OT. Let's target him first, I guess. Let's just get that wild side of you out, boy. Oh, I understood cat furry attack. What? As Terrence would say. What? Yes, die, my pretty. Cat furry attack.
Alright then.
The underbrush is too thick here, apparently. Oh, and the land gets rather rough. So we're about... Oh. Hello, Sha. Oops. He turned. Not like undead turned, but like he just turned. head. Let's see where he settles first before we commit ourselves, not to an institution, but to that spell. OT.
Hey. Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
Okay. Just get a bunch of logs out of here. We build ourselves a cabin when this is all over with. Just saying. Chip, chip, chip.
All right then.
I actually have Mountain Dew left over from this morning, so I will put it in the refrigerator and pull it out tomorrow morning. And of course, it doesn't taste as good once it's been opened, but what do you want to do? Could leave it out overnight; it'd still be about the same. That's one thing. I don't really drink that much soda. That much Coke, we would say in Kentucky, but other people are like, Coke? Coke. They understand Coke, they understand, well, probably Coke or Coca-Cola, and we mean, that's our word for pop, soda, or soda pop. My cousin grew up in Ohio. It was quite funny. We were in Montana. I don't remember that being an issue as a child, listening to people in Montana, But we'd laugh at my cousin when he'd come from Ohio, talking about soda pop, I think they said. And Grandma would say, do you want a Coke? And Coke? She meant grape Fanta, mostly. I love grape Fanta to this day because of that. She kept it deep cooled. In the middle of a Kentucky summer, let me tell you, that tastes good. So there was something over here we could fight. Another one of them lurking fellers.
Nice and
We can lurk too. Is that what it is? The tooltip is not working, so we don't know. Yep. But we can postulate based on what we've met up till now. Right? Need to get a good configuration going here. Ooh, we need to rest before it, or just a dare. A dare. It sounds like, it sounds like his name ought to be Ader, but then they just make it sound like it's French, like bon marché. So, a dare. You can take the girl out of the South, but you can't take the South out of the girl. So, there's that. Let's rest. And I love that y'all come in here. You should feel free to lurk or write in the chat or do whatever you're going to do. This is your free time too. You're not being paid to be here. I'm not being paid to be here. So we should, all of us, be having a little bit of fun here. Not at the expense of anyone else, of course. That's naughty.
Oglin's fire casts light in dark wood.
That's like the Baldur's Gate remark about the crevices. I don't remember what it was now. I was like, ew. Oh, you're supposed to be casting a spell. Okay, first of all, everyone stop. And then you go cast the spell that I told you to. Oh, yeah, baby. How many of them can I get? Let's get these 4. And then get back. You get back. You get back. Why are all the people who should be at the back in the front? Tell me this. I'm just kidding. Nom, 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 nom. That's what he said. Oh, I forgot I had that. Oh, that would have been helpful. Oh, that looks pretty good. Does she have ADHD or something? I told her to fight them fellers. And what's she doing there? She just turns around and starts fighting any old Betty. You three, stop picking your noses and get in on the fight here. So lunatics. I was gonna say, any day now. You know what? You could do this. You could do instead of you two just running around in circles here. Her getting all head up doesn't last very long, does it? Now I've commented on that before. I know I have, but it just amazes me that it's gone so quickly. Oh well. In that case, come help them. These guys are nothing like those feral druids. Whoa. Whoa. Those guys were hammerhot. Look, Ma, no hands. It was one of those battles. Ooh, tea. We were going to go up the north side, weren't we? Let's only go on ahead and clear the area since we're here. Twiddling our thumbs. Or with our thumb up our ass. I don't know which one. Let y'all decide. Whole pack of these things usually. Which makes sense. You're dead. Stop growling. Oh, that's not him. Oh, tea. Oh, someone got eaten. You know, the females are pretty fierce. These is both males, so maybe we've got a chance. Actually, the females are the hunters, so.
You're not getting through me.
Should have killed that one first, and I got working on the other one and got distracted. Look, a squirrel. Oh, look, a squirrel. No. That one's a lion, darling. So, waves are roughly chiseled in the stone. They grasp at Andre's beloved moon like curling fingers. Unique. You know what that means, don't you? And the little one here, she's got an axe too, but it's just a fine hatchet. Let's trade that out. I am unsure why it keeps jumping from one person to the next, except that that person just happens to be the one looting. That makes sense. Okay, I know now. Done figured that out for myself. It does always feel like there's about 12 of us in this game. Obviously there's not. There's 6 of us, the dog, or fox, or whatever you want to call it, and then the wirem that's traveling, that's not doing anything except just flopping around. So we did figure out we have to do that more frequently, like it or not. I'm just going to take this from you.
I'll see what I can find.
Yes, I know he can see us. I just wanted to see if there's any secrets here. Now my Instagram and YouTube messages, I actually set up to where one is supposed to be 35 minutes, every 35 minutes. The other one's supposed to be every 45 minutes. So they should not have been, they were like 5 minutes apart earlier. Maybe I was just hallucinating. Well, we want to go north looking for the troll. Let's go on ahead and see if there's anything of interest up to the north side of this area. I've done all these quests, it's just been a while. That is a feature I like of this game, the fast mode. We didn't find anything there, so we're going to try going north of Direford. One day and 1 hour. You know, out to the west side, it just takes forever to travel anywhere. You get over here and that goes pretty easily. Okay, that seems to me, and I'm sure that it is not just it seems. That is to the west again. Who are you? I think these guys are related to a quest that you get from the inn. Okay, so here's to the north. Well, let's go on over to the inn then. And by the way, I do have a bunch of schnick schnack for y'all. You see it whenever I use the Twitch to stream. I haven't set it back up in OBS. And I don't know that I will because, frankly, you can see the game a lot better like this rather than looking at a bunch of...
Hail travel.
looking at a bunch of purdy, fluffy stuff, and the guard gives you an appraising eye. You've recently come to Direford, I take it. I don't suppose you saw a young elven woman on the road. I'm stuck in this wretched place with the rest of my unit until we find her. Who is she? Lady Ilis. She's the daughter of Lord Nestor Herond, and she's gone missing. Perhaps if you could go speak with Lord Harrend at the inn, he'd be grateful for the assistance, and it could be the villagers will open up to you more than what they have done to us. Ooh, tea. Did we was in there already? I think we were, weren't we? It's off to the inn. It is out to the inn. What does that mean? I don't know. I think it's very sweet that when we sleep by the fire, we have this cute little cozy fire thingy over our heads. Oh.
I just want to find her. Surely even you can understand that.
A redhead stands by the fire, tuning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of a melody as she goes. First time at the Dracogen, normally I'd have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of this inn. Say, you interested in a story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you about it all the same. It's too bad we don't have Kana with us, right? That sucks. I really miss him. I like him. Sure, let's have it. It was built in the time of Hadred's rebellion, and a Darien lady, Fenu, once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to be buried under the village. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the empire, and a contingent of Duke Hadret's Knights of the Crucible helped the farmers and colonists in the area turn her keep to rubble. In Rotenburg of the Taubau, they have a tale that there was a castle there. The peasants claim that when they went to take the stones that they were laying on the ground, they were using them to build other things, that the stones were already lying on the ground because an earthquake had actually destroyed the castle. That was in the 1300s. Obviously, we suspect the peasants dismantled the castle. It was not lived in. It was not used. So, sorry, I'm an historian. So, this inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from the Lady Thanu's castle, they say. Supposedly, the quarterstaff of her chief wizard got lost in the construction, mortared into a wall or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn is supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built their town, or was supposed to have been. Go on. Darwoodens have an ornery lot, and the more these new neighbors met, the more they argued. They realized they didn't agree on much aside ousting the old lord. The biggest divide was over the Glanfathens and their nearby ruins. Hadret's Knights and their supporters wanted to keep the peace, but a group of misfits with more anarchic leanings that had formed in town wanted to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after their lord. Soon the villagers were fighting with each other as much as with the Adarians. In the end, memories of the Broken Stone War and the War of Black Trees were fresh enough that the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came around eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines of the War of Defiance. And others I've heard found their way into the Guided Compass, the most forward-looking of the Glanfathen tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes a good story. I don't know that the tribes are adopting random pipples. She points to the east wall. There's a portrait of one of the chief rabble rousers and his rival in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of a joke. I don't think they were particularly amused. I want to hear about the Broken Stone War. That was the first major conflict between the original Adarian settlers and the Glenfathans. Happened 3 years into colonization when some farmers knocked over an Adra menhir that was part of an Iguithian ruin. The war didn't last long, but it spread quickly and claimed thousands. In the early weeks, most of the colonists didn't even realize there was a war going on until the Glenfathan raiders hit their villages. There had been small, spontaneous skirmishes between the colonists and the locals before then, but this was organized, and it was the start of decades of violence between the colonists and the Glenfathans. As you can see, Darawood's full of history, even in little villages like this. Tell me about the War of the Black Trees. It started back in the colonial days, almost 30 years after the Broken Stone War. Even though isolated conflicts still broke out between the settlers and the Glenfathans, both sides had officially agreed to peace. Edrong Hadrat, Admeth's father, was a Gref at the time, like a Graf, okay? As part of peace negotiations, he'd signed treaties prohibiting Adrian colonists from looting Iguithan ruins. However, he'd been unable to outlaw the use of captured Glenfathans as slaves. Okay, a Gref should be a Graf, so I'll go ahead and do that. A Gref is the governor of a colony, and it's subservient to the Adarian emperor. The early leaders of the Adara colony in the Darawood included Edrang and Admeth Hadrat were Grefs, okay? But a Graf is also beholden to an emperor, we would say in English, Kaiser. At the start of the War of Defiance, Admeth Hadrat declared himself Duke of an independent Darawood, rather than Gref of the emperor's colony. It was the same term used for leaders of the newly independent Valian republics. Anyway, we haven't had a Gref since. I see. Indeed, the taking of Glenfathan slaves had continued to be a source of conflict. It came to a head when imperial agents, aided by certain earls, which is roughly earls of course, in the Darawood began looting the ruins again. See, the empire had never actually agreed to Hadrat's treaties on the matter, and the recent secession of the Valian republics likely left them eager to weaken Hadrat's position. The looting sparked a brutal slave uprising and a guerrilla campaign among the Glenfathans. Edrang Hadrat was too old to lead forces into battle, and so he sent his son Admeth. Admeth made a costly but effective decision that ended the war faster than anyone could have imagined. So it's the equivalent of dropping an A-bomb. He burned the forest near the Iska Ian River to keep the Glenfathan war bands from retreating. Thousands of Glenfathans died, and as Admeth repeated his scorched earth tactics in the following months, he wore down the remainder of their forces. To this day, over 150 years later, there are still sections of the Darawood where the trees are nothing but bare, charred trunks. To give you a perspective, it has been over 150 years since slavery was abolished in the United States of America. Okay? It's always a good sort of focal point.
We're decent folk, my lord.
Well, everybody thinks that.
Perhaps you should leave and check the waters.
Who knows what kind of person that daughter of yours is? Oh, that's what they just had to say, didn't they? I would read this to you, but I read a lot already, and I'm not sure how many people really want to sit and listen to me read the whole stream. The man wears Adara-style robes, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, yet they're caked with mud. Has he no outdoor shoes? He yanks at a lock of hair twined around his silk-gloved finger. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out. Do they not understand? My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers, beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
I heard you arguing with the innkeeper.
A petty, small-minded matter. Just less than. I've been paying him honest keep for being dead and starting such a concern in my release.
Well, why should he? I think this is this is a perspective issue here. You know, your child is missing. I take it.
My daughter.
Hmm.
I've asked around, but nobody in this mudhole has any concerns beyond their swine. Turning them out there like beggars isn't downright pleased with your efforts. You're not one of my soldiers. You look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
My lord, a mercenary. Haran raises a hand to silence the man. If you find her, he nibbles at the thumb of one silk glove. Tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure my Alis, my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. I instantly distrust him because I can tell you, coming from a farming community myself, the folk may be simple, doesn't make them stupid. My grandmother was an incredible logical genius. She could make grown men, bring them to their knees and make them cry by asking them questions, logical questions. She was relentless, but she didn't aim to be vicious. So, let me ask you a few questions about your daughter then.
Of course.
Describe her. Help know when I meet her. She's a striking woman, bears more resemblance to her mother than to me. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be, 28 or 29 now. He didn't even know how old his own daughter is. Seriously? Tell me about her disappearance. We'd stopped in Direford for a few days. On our fourth evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Lady Alis was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a few hours later, I found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and no one at the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village. Excuse me, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been of no help. Why the devil should they? That's what I don't get. Why he thinks they ought to drop everything to help him find his missing grown daughter. She's not a child. So, why did you and Alis come to Direford? It was merely a stop along the way to Ina's Rest. However, she took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What's in Ina's Rest? He frowns as if about to protest, but he gives in with a sigh. Lady Alis has reached an age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I can't let her fertile years slip by, nor do I want her womb to fester in the presence of so many Hallowborn. Okay, let's take the lower answer. Seems there would be more potential suitors in New Homar or New Yarma. You think I haven't considered that? Arranging a suitable match is difficult. The best prospects for my child lay in Ina's Rest. Okay, it's Survival 5, which I meet. There are better roads along the coast. Wouldn't it have been easier to follow them to Ina's Rest? If I thought that, I wouldn't be slogging through the forest, would I? He waves a hand. The main roads are clogged with people fleeing one way or the other to try to escape Widewind's legacy. It would be difficult for a caravan like mine to pass without incident. All the time it seemed prudent to move quietly along the back roads. I don't know, something's not right about him. So where's the rest of your family? Surely they wouldn't want to miss your daughter's betrothal. Lady Harond is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, Alis has few other close relatives. My sister and her husband, Alis's aunt and uncle, of course, have been visiting Adair these past months. He rubs his knuckles. And as for siblings, Alis has none. My wife has only given birth to Hollowborn, since Alis, that is. If you're looking for an eligible noble, I happen to know Lord Rhetoric of Gilded Vale is recently single. I'm going to choose that. That would never do. Elves and folk cannot produce offspring together. Who's the elf? I blinked and missed something. I see. Going back to your daughter. Hey. What about her? Let's go back to my other previous questions. Okay, tell me about yourself. Alrighty, well, goodbye. I really can't help but feel like there's something wrong. Okay, what do you think happened to her? Could be a lot of things. The locals here don't seem to realize Hadrit's rebellion ended 150 years ago. What an asshole. Crowing about the castle they tore down and built their village over. I wouldn't have put something like this past them. If I knew anything concrete, we'd have found her by now. I don't want to hear about what a hip backwater piece of crap he thinks that is just because it's a village. He shifts his weight. What's there to say? She's a lovely girl, quiet, keeps to herself. She'd make any father proud. My perception is not high enough. Okay, let's go ahead and listen to him jabber on then. Who wouldn't want to be out of this? You know, the whole village smells like wet leather and pig shit, and the locals have nothing but contempt for anyone who bathes more than once a year. Well, now, it's not New Year's yet. They won't lift a finger to find Lady Alis, but it raises their hackles when we go looking for her. This has been one of my complaints, by the way, about these games, is the southern hate that these embody. The second one's really bad. Anyone who's got a southern accent in it gets called a hick. It's really hard to hold through that. It is so horrifying. And as a southerner who is anything but stupid, inbred, ignorant, racist, xenophobic, homophobic, etc., it's very upsetting. Oh, I guess I better get out of the kitchen then. Oh, I didn't even see that some of us leveled up. 3 of us, in point of fact. His athletics are invaluable to me. They are really irreplaceable. So we're going to save all those points for next turn. Is that a passive one? No. We could get a bonus knockdown. That'd be pretty cool. I think we'll go with that. Okay. Now she's a barbarian. We have been concentrating on her survival, but not skimping on her lore necessarily because of speech choices. Well, conversational choices, that is to say. So I reckon we'll take this one again. She doesn't have any mechanic skills. Not like it's going to hurt anything. So, Greater Frenzy, Stalwart Defiance, Barbaric Blow. What does that do? Deals a massive blow, causing additional crits and extra damage on crits. Carnage is not affected. Okay. Endurance. I'm surprised Aloth didn't go up. He must be teetering on the brink, and he is. Okay. Alles klar. That means he'll go up soon. He is our main master with lore, by the by. His perception seems to be pretty good. Let's give him some more athletics. Not going to hurt anything. Okay, now, Rude grants interdiction, dazing any enemies in the area of effect. The faithful of Malgrin gain an accuracy, but I don't know if calling her a whore all the time makes you a faithful of hers. Bonus with sword and arquebus, and can cast a special version of Burst of Summer Flame. This is something passive. But he doesn't use those weapons. He's got that crazy staff of his. Once per wrist, okay. Aggrandizing Radiance. It modifies the Holy Radiance. Minus 75% healing received. That doesn't seem very beneficial. Allies gain an accuracy bonus from the Priest's Holy Radiance. Modifies Holy Radiance. Get plus 10 accuracy. We could get bonus level 1 and 2 spells, or we could give him something else entirely, like Veteran's Recovery. By adopting the strict discipline of a fighter, the character is able to pace themselves in combat. Let's give him that. I think that's going to be quite helpful. Ooh-tee. So, we were contemplating sleeping at the inn.
Hail and well met.
What was your exchange with the nobleman about? He looks up from polishing his tankard and glowers at the Lord. The folk around here's decent. They mind their own business. You want to stick your nose in it, go talk to him yourself, okay? I'd like to see what rooms you have, because you're right about that. Make sure you close your window if you're on the side facing Trigal's shop. I guess it stinks, him being a tanner and all. We're going to splurge and go for the dragon's lair. Well, now, don't we feel better? We saw those people on the other side of the river. I didn't pay any mind to what their names were. But could it be that one of them was the gal that we're looking for? These soldiers are all over town. I thought we'd see if we can get back up over that way, by the way.
Welcome to my channel.
Hi, Toadster. How are you? Feels like it's 11 o'clock at night, but it's not. Okay, that is impassable. Making it impossible. By the way, I just leaned back for a little while, put my feet up, because I'm exhausted. Another one of these. I don't think you know this game, do you? No, bugger me. And the only really way into that tower is through his shop, by the by. Let's go see who those people were on the other side of the river. Looks like I got all the Or the horses. Looks like you're on the wrong side of the river. I watch too much TV. Those weren't the people I was looking for. We saw some people up here. If y'all remember, while we were just kind of running around. Who are you? Ah, one of those. Are y'all going to be like that? We're supposedly, when we do this, we increase our power. Fogmishtel. Must be a soul counter somewhere. And the second one, we're encouraging souls to come to us, right? An elf idles by the road, watching the village across the river. He nods at as you approach, and the cowled figures standing near him fall silent. That sounded like a dare. Blazes, you've just come from the village, haven't you? How bad was it? How bad was what? Haven't you heard? There's a murderer on the loose, said to have gone mad with grief and strangled a dozen healthy children when her own was hollow-born. He nods at the figures with him. We've come a long way from Defiance Bay to bring her to justice. She's here? He nods across the river. She's hiding in the village. We'd go in after her ourselves, but the problem is she knows our faces. There's no telling what she'd do if she saw us a-coming. And we'd like to avoid any further unnecessary bloodshed. He leans closer. My name's Knifer. She's an Orlan. We want to get her out of town so that we can deal with her cleanly. She knows we're looking for her, but if someone were to convince her that it's safe to leave... ... If she's a mass murderer, why didn't the Duke send the Crucible Knights after her? The powers that be want to keep things quiet for obvious reasons. Better not to cause a fuss, and certainly better not to startle her into doing something drastic. I'm not sure about this. He lays a strong hand on your shoulder. Oh, I hate when people do that. I had a brother who used to do that. A mad woman like that is everybody's problem, friend. Just keep an eye out, and if you come across her, remember what I told you. I promise I'll make it worth your while. Now, I don't like him at all. Aside from the obvious fact that he put his hand on my shoulder. I think that woman's up on the top floor of the inn. And still don't puzzle through how we're supposed to get to the ogre. He said go west. We went west. West went south. What? It did. West went south. What is she talking about? West went south. We came in from the north when we went west. I know it's mental. Okay. And there she is. The Orlan hovers by the window, peering out of it every few seconds. As you enter the room, she watches you carefully, her hand hovering over her stiletto. She cranes her head to peer behind you. Anyone follow you? Who sent you? Someone told me you were responsible for heinous killings in Defiance Bay. Let me guess, was that someone named Medrith? She draws her stiletto. It's a lie, plain and simple. I got on the wrong side of his employers, and now he's after me. But if you're here to do his dirty work, I won't make it easy. Relax, I just wanted to hear your side of the story. What story? Oh, the Dominels came after me. Oh, you're fucked. I just happened to rob the wrong place. Yeah. How was I supposed to know they'd already claimed it? She runs her hands under her hood and through her hair. It was an honest mistake. I'm just trying to survive now. And if you spoke with Medrith, you know where he's waiting. Please help me get out of here. hard line. I'm going to tell her to go east. I'll do with the dominoes later. She nods slowly. All right, I'm trusting you. Don't have no choice. See if you can send him the other way. That should buy me some time. She follows the hooded figures toward the stairs, giving you a final uncertain glance as she passes through the door. And what if he automatically does the opposite of what I tell him to? There's no one else in here, is there? Then it ain't stealing. Oh, the rise to power. We don't have that one.
Hey.
Like I said, I'm not reading it because we'd be here all night. I've read each one of these stories. They are interesting though, and I encourage you to read them on your own. He's ill suited for this.
Yes. The work of a moment. The work of a moment.
And that leveled him up. Got some good cash out of it to boot. So he is our thief. Oh no, bugger me. He's our thief. His lore score was that way when we found him. We're gonna give him a couple more points to toward his survival. So 3rd level spells, we get 1. Okay, that sickens the victims. This one's usually pretty good. Creates a ball of energy in the caster's hand that can be thrown at an enemy, causing burn, freeze, corrode, and shock damage to anyone caught in the area of effect. Blights are continually replenished until the spell ends. 3rd level wizard spell, speed average, caster until weapon changed for 90 seconds is the effect. And now we get an extra bonus thingy. 2nd level spells, naya. They're okay. Concentrates the power of blasts, negating some of the target's damage reduction. This is a passive ability. Okay. Blast, is that the one with the books? We'll take it, whatever it is. Okay. Nope, that's not that one. Well, whatever it is, we have it and we're stuck with it. So, let's go back downstairs. We'll go to that feller. We'll tell him, then we can at least finish up that quest. There are like 5 gazillion others. I'm exaggerating slightly. If you came here looking for a sane streamer, you probably came to the wrong place.
Before I knew it, the Stelgar was on top of me, and I was face down in the dirt.
Arrow to the throat. That stops him.
What? No! I was spirit shifted, and she was in heat, so I aimed for the throat, but not the hand.
Oh my gosh! That's really bawdy. I can't afford to piss that family off. He squints at you pulling out. I told him she snuck out of the inn and went north. Pulling the grass into 2 flimsy threads. Did she now? And how would you know that? I was just hoping you'd believe me. Damn it. Don't worry, I'll catch up to her right after I take care of you. Oh. Bugger me. No. She's casting spells, so let's go after her. It's not like everybody's going to actually do what I told them to, is it? That's not what I told them to do at all. I'm not even sure what he's doing now, and I'm not going to interfere neither. Like I say, they seem to have it in hand, so. That one was incredibly easy, and the one with the feral druids was horrifyingly hard. And although I realize you can't control what kind of fight you're going to meet in nature, and therefore I don't really want to whine about bad game balance. But it can get kind of frustrating, can it? They're not going to be very happy about me killing their people. So, anyhow, my lovelies, it's been 2.5 hours. I will ask y'all again, please, if you have a good time in mind for watching while I game, I would appreciate hearing about it. Give me a whisper. And if you have a particular game that you'd like to see streamed, you can give me a whisper too. I'll tell you if I own it or if I can get it, or did have. Oh, I guess I should go ahead and level them up. I did have one feller ask me about streaming horror games, and I did go ahead and get a couple horror games, although I don't generally play them. So anyhow, though, I'll go ahead and level these fellers up, and we'll go ahead and end our stream. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Appreciate it. We are streaming this around the same time every evening during the week. And then Saturdays and Sundays, I try to get my streams in. My whole schedule is posted in Twitch. In the mornings, Central European time, which is late in the evenings in the New World, I'm streaming An Evil Party in Baldur's Gate 2. Hope y'all will join me again for whatever is convenient for you or of interest to you. And you take care of yourselves until then. Bye-bye.